Thank you for joining us today. Without further delay, I'll invite our first speakers up to the stage, including parents, a child care provider leader, and a business leader. Please welcome them.
Thank you all for joining us today as we come together to talk about something that affects families, businesses, and communities across Nebraska. My name is Cale Pallas. I'm a third-generation Nebraskan and a parent from Stromsburg.
Hello, I am Jessica Pallas, Cale's wife, and we have 3.5-year-old twin girls. We're here today because we're fighting for our family and for other Nebraska families trying to make childcare work.
Before our twins were born, we had no idea we would need 2 childcare spots at the same time. For the first 9 months, we had to hire a nanny in our home. It was our only option. It allowed us both to stay in the workforce, but the cost essentially wiped out one salary off the table. Then we found childcare we loved in York, and then it closed. And then we had to find another provider.
Until last week, we were driving every day, about 20 minutes each way, to York for full-time childcare. And we're not alone. There are probably 15 to 20 families leaving Stromsburg for York every day for childcare. But last week, we decided we had to switch things up to help save on cost and allow our girls to start preschool. Now our childcare is a puzzle that we put together week by week. Now, bear with me. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, the twins go to preschool in York in the morning. I work out of the library or local coffee shop. I pick them up, and then we go home. On Wednesdays, we go to preschool in Stromsburg in the morning. And then for the rest of the time, we piece it together. We have part-time care at home on preschool days, and on Mondays and Fridays, kind of the same thing. We just have to make it work with a patchwork of solutions. It's pretty wonky. I work remotely full-time, so that means I work early in the morning, during nap time, at night, or on the weekends as needed to make it work. I can tell you this, being pregnant with twins didn't stress me out nearly as much as figuring out the childcare did.
And that matters to more than our family. When we were looking at growing our family business, I asked people my age what it would take for them to move to Stromsburg. Housing was a challenge, but people could figure that out. Jobs could sometimes be done remotely, but childcare was different. As I told someone recently, you can't really work your way around the childcare problem.
If we want young people to come back to Nebraska, urban or rural, to work here, to raise their children here, and to become a part of our communities, they need childcare options that actually work for their families. You can't ask people to build a life somewhere without the basic infrastructure needed to support them. And that doesn't mean every family needs the same thing. Parents need choices, care that fits their schedules, that they can afford, that is consistent, and most importantly, care where they feel good about leaving their children every single day.
So to us, this is an economic issue. As an employer, I need a consistent workforce. As a community member, I want young families living and spending their money in our community. And as parents, we want our children to have quality care close to home. These things are all connected. As Nebraska parents, we are committed to helping solve Nebraska's child care challenge.
So, good afternoon. My name is Quentin Brown, and I'm the Executive Director of Educare Lincoln, where we serve well over 150 children and their families. Since my profession is centered within child care, I understand the challenges of child care in Nebraska well. Every day, families trust us with the people who matter most to them. We get to help children learn and grow, and we get to be a part of families' lives during some of their most important years. However, running a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing care for young children and families, I also understand firsthand the challenging business model of child care and how difficult the economics have become. Across Nebraska, the problem is fundamentally the same. Providers cannot afford to earn less, and families cannot afford to pay more. Simply put, there isn't enough room between those two realities to sustain the child care system that we need. And child care is expensive to provide. We have staffing costs, food, supplies, insurance, training, and all the other expenses that come with operating a quality program. But we also know that high-priced families are already paying and what another increase would mean for them. So providers make up the difference in ways people will likely never see. The hours are long, the pay isn't competitive, benefits that are common in many other professions like health insurance, paid time off, vacation, and retirement benefits are financially out of reach for many child care businesses. The child care subsidy system creates another challenge. Subsidy is incredibly important because it helps families afford the care that they need to work, but when reimbursement does not cover the full cost of providing that care, child care providers absorb the difference. Think about it this way. Think about what that would mean in another small business where you are being asked to provide your service at a discount every day, and then your business is expected to make up that difference. Child care providers do it because we care about the children and families we serve, but caring deeply about this work does not make the math sustainable. And this isn't just an urban problem. I hear from providers in rural communities that they face the same pressures, often with fewer families and fewer resources available to sustain their businesses. When a child care provider disappears, every single person feels it. A family loses care, a parent may miss work or leave a job, an employer loses a worker, and a community loses part of the infrastructure that allows families to live and work there. Nebraska's child care providers cannot solve our state's child care challenge alone, and families can't solve it alone either. It will take all of us. And as a leader, standing before you in the child care industry here in Nebraska, I am committed to helping to solve our child care challenge. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Castling. I spent much of my career building businesses right here in Nebraska, including Castling and Sequence Health. I also have the privilege to serve as the chairman of the statewide organization, Exarban Board of Governors. From the business perspective, the child care challenge is pretty straightforward. We need Nebraska parents to be able to work. Every employer in Nebraska depends on people showing up and being there to do their jobs. And when employees can't find reliable child care, or the cost makes it not work for them and unaffordable, that becomes a business challenge too. In Nebraska, businesses are already paying for it. We pay through absenteeism, lost productivity, we pay through turnover, the cost of recruiting and training new employees, and we pay when positions are unfilled with talented employees. Taken together, inadequate child care is estimated to cost Nebraska $1.6 billion in lost labor costs. But there's another side of this issue that matters just as much, growth. And some of the senators down here will know our focus on growth. Nebraska needs to attract, retain talented people. We want young families to choose to come here, to grow here, to live here. We want existing business to expand and new industries to invest and create jobs here. And keep in mind, we are competing with every other state, city, county in the country that are trying to do the same thing. When a company is deciding where to grow, workforce absolutely matters. When a talented employee is deciding where to live, and the ability to work and raise a family matters. Increasingly, states are recognizing that child care is part of the equation. It's part of the infrastructure that was brought up. So the question isn't whether businesses and communities are paying for the child care challenges. We already are. The question is whether we continue absorbing these costs through lost labor, lost productivity, lost economic opportunity, or whether we get organized around solutions that strengthen our workforce and make Nebraska more competitive. Nebraska's business community cannot solve this problem, this statewide child care problem alone. We absolutely want to be involved. We want to be part of the solution with everybody working together. As a Nebraska business leader, I am committed to helping solve the child care challenge here as soon as we can. Thank you.
So you've now heard three perspectives from Nebraska parents, from me, a child care program provider, and our business leader. Our experiences are different, but the child care challenges and opportunities connect us all. We want to work together, and so we ask, what could affordable, quality child care make possible for Nebraska? Take a look.
There's a moment every morning in Nebraska. Before the roads fill up, before the classrooms open, before the first meetings begin, children wake up. The lights come on, coffee gets poured, and lunches get packed. Another Nebraska day begins, and all across the state, people get to work. In office buildings, on farms, and in hospitals, factories, or small businesses. And there are special places that make all this work possible. Child care providers in home centers and schools are part of the infrastructure Nebraska depends on every day. So, parents head to their jobs, children have a safe place to learn, grow, and belong, businesses attract talent and a competitive workforce, and communities stay strong and keep innovating and building. Child care is one of the cornerstones of Nebraska's future. But for too many Nebraska families, finding quality child care has become harder. Harder to find, harder to afford, harder to keep. In some communities, parents drive miles out of the way just to find care. Some families are doing everything right, but still struggle to make the numbers work. And the people caring for Nebraska's children, child care providers, deeply love the work. But too often, they're working long hours without the pay, benefits, or stability they deserve. Some can't afford to retire. Some can barely afford to stay in business. And when providers disappear, everyone feels it. Right now, Nebraska stands at a turning point. Other neighboring states are making bold choices to support families, strengthen their workforce, and grow their economies through statewide child care investments. Child care is economic infrastructure, just like our schools, roads, hospitals, and public safety systems. Affordable, quality child care is a state-building strategy. And the states that invest in the resources working parents need are better positioned to retain young families, attract talent, strengthen their workforce, and grow their economy. Nebraska's competitiveness depends on child care. That's why parents, providers, community leaders, businesses, and chambers of commerce across Nebraska are coming together through a new initiative called Child Care Can. Child Care can help Nebraska attract and retain the families, workers, and businesses needed for a strong future. Child Care can strengthen the foundation that allows communities to grow and thrive. Child Care can support families and ensure they have the resources and support they need to thrive. The Child Care Can initiative is grounded in a simple belief. The quality of care we provide to children and to the people who care for them will determine Nebraska's future, because the future of Nebraska depends on whether families can build their lives here, whether employers can find the workforce they need, whether communities can retain and attract the next generation, and whether children can learn, grow, and succeed. The opportunity before Nebraska is clear. By committing to significant public investment in affordable, quality child care for Nebraska's children and families, Nebraska will have a competitive advantage. Child Care can, because when child care works, Nebraska thrives.
Good afternoon and welcome to Child Care Can. My name is Elizabeth Everett, and I have the privilege of serving as the campaign manager for this effort. I come to this work from a couple of different perspectives. I spent much of my career in politics and public policy, And for almost 10 years, I have worked on behalf of Nebraska's children and families. But I also come to this as a mom. My husband and I have 2 young children under 5. We both work. We need childcare to work. So when we talk about families trying to find care, afford care, and keep care, I understand that challenge professionally, but I also understand it personally. And I know our family is far from alone. Across Nebraska, families are making difficult decisions because of childcare. Providers are working long hours to sustain businesses that operate on incredibly tight margins. Employers are trying to attract and retain workers. Communities are trying to keep and attract young families and create opportunities for them to stay and build their lives. Those may sound like separate challenges. They are not. And this is why we are here today. Child Care Can is a statewide, multi-year campaign to strengthen Nebraska through public investment in affordable, quality child care. It begins with a simple belief: the quality of care we provide to children and to the people who care for them will help determine Nebraska's competitiveness and our future. And there is a reason we are launching this campaign now. Across the country, there is a new policy trend. States are looking differently at childcare. New Mexico, Louisiana, Iowa, Montana. Different states are pursuing different approaches, but they are increasingly recognizing the same reality. Childcare is not simply a private issue for parents to figure out on their own. It is part of the infrastructure that allows a state to work. The consequences for a state's economy are simply too great for childcare to remain the responsibility of families and providers alone. It requires shared responsibility and shared investment. We understand that roads allow people and goods to move. Schools move the next generation. Hospitals keep communities healthy. In much the same way, childcare providers in homes, centers, and schools make it possible every day for parents to go to work and for employers to have the workforce they need. States are making significant investment because they recognize that they cannot compete for young families, workers, and businesses without addressing the systems those families depend on. Nebraska has an opportunity to be among the states that lead and benefit economically. There is a growing recognition that something needs to change. The business community increasingly understands the connection between childcare and workforce. Communities across the state see what happens when they lose providers or when families cannot find care. And earlier this year, Nebraska policymakers took important steps to address childcare assistance by passing LB 304. We should recognize this progress, but we must build on it. And as we know, there is no one-and-done solution to childcare. That is why we deliberately call Child Care Can a campaign. A challenge this complex will not be solved by one bill, one organization, one legislative session, or one source of funding. It will take multiple strategies, coordinated action, and sustained work over several years. Child Care Can brings that work together around a shared vision, consistent communications, a broad statewide coalition, and coordinated policy strategies. And we are not starting from scratch. Efforts like We Care for Kids helped Nebraskans better understand the importance of quality childcare and elevated the voices of parents and providers. Many organizations and individuals in this room have been working on these issues for years. Child Care Can builds on that work and moves us towards the next challenge, turning greater understanding into action. Many organizations have already raised their hands to help lead that effort. I would like to ask members of the Child Care Can Steering Committee who are here today to please stand. Jennifer Bauman, the Play School. Marty Beard, Early Futures Partnership. Mike Bird, Connected Roots Care Center. Ann Brandt, Lincoln Littles. Quentin Brown, Educare of Lincoln. Lamika Collier, Nebraska Early Childhood Collaborative. Josh Kramer, Nebraska Children and Families Foundation. Nikki Johnson, Educational Service Unit 13. Heather Lohman, Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders County. Robert Patterson, Kids Can Community Center. Ken Smith, Nebraska Appleseed. Lena Trasavina Stover, Heartland Workers Center. And Hunter Trainer, Nebraska Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you. This group represents the kind of broad coalition this campaign will require. I also want to recognize two critical voices that will be especially important throughout this campaign: Nebraska parents and child care providers. We can talk about economics, the workforce, and competitiveness. Those things matter enormously. But the people who understand the system best are the people who depend on it and the people who make it work every day. Their experience must help shape where we can go from here. If you remember one thing from today, remember this: Child Care Can means collaborative action. Our long-term goal is clear: secure robust, recurring public investment that increases access to affordable, quality child care throughout Nebraska. That means investment significant enough to make a meaningful difference and reliable enough to strengthen Nebraska's child care system over time. So where do we begin? As we look toward 2027, Child Care Can will pursue policy solutions that put more resources directly into the hands of Nebraska families and child care providers, including tax credits that can help improve affordability for families with young children and strengthen the providers that depend on them. This is our first step. We will also begin the longer-term work of identifying a dedicated source of state funding for child care. We know the fiscal environment Nebraska faces, and there are real budget challenges. And we know child care is part of the solution. When parents have reliable care, they can work. When employers have workers, they can operate and grow. When providers can sustain their businesses, communities can retain families. And when Nebraska can offer families the foundation they need to build a life here, we become more competitive. So we will work with members of the legislature, the governor, families, providers, businesses, and communities to identify practical, bipartisan policy solutions that make sense for Nebraska. And we need you to be a part of it. Join the coalition, invite others to join, share this campaign with your employees, your members, your neighbors, and your communities. Help people understand that child care is not somebody else's issue. And when the time comes to support practical policy solutions, lend your voice. Because this is a moment when Nebraska gets to make a choice, and we believe Nebraska will compete. This is within our grasp, but it will take all of us. For children, childcare can open doors. For families, childcare can make work possible. For providers, childcare can become a sustainable profession and business. For employers, childcare can strengthen the workforce. For communities, childcare can help families stay and grow. And for Nebraska, childcare can be an economic advantage. That is the work ahead of us. That is the campaign we are launching today. And that is why we are here to say together, child care can. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm so proud to be a part of the Child Care Campaign effort. And after everything you've heard today, I hope you're ready to figure out how you fit into this picture as well. So before you leave today, let me give you a few very specific things you can do. First, go to the Child Care Can website. See the QR code up there? Learn about the campaign, explore it, read the FAQs, and most importantly, fill out the form so you can keep connected to this work. Second, I want you to tell 5 people. Think right now about 5 people that you know in your life, at work, who need to know about Child Care Can. You know who will care about this. Send them to the website. Ask them to sign up too. That's how 5 people become 25, and a room like this becomes a statewide movement. Third, follow the Child Care Can on social media and engage with the content. The new Child Care Can website has links to all of our social media accounts. Follow and share a post with your networks and help bring more people into this conversation from every part of Nebraska in the weeks and months ahead. And finally, wear your new Child Care Can pin, like I am today. Members of the Child Care Can Steering Committee are coming around right now to share more information about the campaign and to give you your own special pin. Put your pin on your jacket, put it in your work bag, wear it to a meeting. And when someone asks you, what is Child Care Can? You tell them it's about making affordable child care, quality child care, a Nebraska priority. You've heard what child care can mean for families, providers, and Nebraska businesses and our economy. Now we need Nebraska to hear it. So go to the website and sign up. Tell 5 people. Follow the campaign on social media and wear your pin. And here's the deal. If you're one of the first people at your table to make a commitment to doing these 4 things, you get to take home a centerpiece. Trying to sweeten that deal. Think about your 5 people. Pull out your phone now, text. Get that QR code going. Because why? Now it's time for us to show Nebraska what childcare can do. So thank you for coming today. Please feel free to stick around, grab some more food, chit-chat with some friends and colleagues, and thank you again for coming today.